Chapter 28 On Winter Holidays. Jed and I never knew what to do in the first days of holidays, especially in winter, and especially because we lived by the bay. You can hardly do anything at the beach, and the winds off the water make everything that much colder. Mr. Tran was still in Sydney. V was working at her hairdresser shop. Luca had day shifts, and Lily didn't want anything to do with Jed, Sam or me. But V and Luca insisted that they wanted us out of the house and not stuck on the couch playing video games every day. All I really wanted was to visit Pop and then the hospital to find out how that lady in the garden was and if her baby was okay. Hospital visiting hours didn't start until 4 p.m, so I still had to find something to fill my day with, and Sam's, since I was in charge of him, while Annika was away. I didn't say anything to Luca or Sam about the lady or what happened. I felt like without knowing if she was okay, it wasn't fair to tell them more sad stories, so I kept that one to myself, just in case. The three of us could hang around town as long as we stuck our heads in at the police station or the hairdressers occasionally to let V, Luca or Penny know we were okay. In the end, Aiden, Jed, Kira, Sam and I decided to finally pull our bikes out from our sheds, shake the cobwebs from our helmets and go riding around town to find something to do. That was how we came across a whole gaggle of refugee kids. And Mr. Curry too. Kira's house was only one road over from P&P. After we collected her, we were riding back past the school when we saw a whole bunch of kids in the front playground and a big bus parked in the teacher's lot. We screeched our bikes to a stop just outside the chain link fence, hopped off our seats and gawked at them. All these kids our age who looked pretty much just like us, although the words we could hear coming from them definitely weren't English. There were about 40 or so kids, running around and giggling, or else standing and talking to each other. Some of the girls were trying to do handstands against the brick wall of classroom 1B, while a bunch of boys were putting their thumbs over the drinking fountain to squirt each other with water. Weird, watching other kids go to school while we're on holidays, Kira said. And then I spotted them, holding each other's hands and twirling, just like we'd seen them doing a week ago at the supermarket. Merjame and Arta. The sisters looked just the same, except their tracksuits were blue this time, and it looked like they had their hair brushed. Once they stopped twirling, I thought I saw the younger one, Arta, look our way, so I lifted my hand and waved. "What are you doing?" Aiden asked. I shrugged and kept waving, and then Sam followed, where I was looking, and did the same thing. Aiden slapped a hand to his helmet head like he couldn't believe us. The two girls eventually waved back, but didn't come over. Then some other kids standing near them must have asked what they were doing, so they just started pointing at us. "Hey, isn't that Mr. Curry?" Jed said, nodding towards the front office. We watched as he stepped outside, along with my old Year 2 teacher, Mrs. Vines. Both were carrying clipboards and wearing these yellow and white vests with little red crosses over their hearts and the word volunteer in black letters across their backs. Some adults I didn't recognise followed them, two of them wearing bright yellow jumpers with the word Albanian Community Volunteer in bold black letters across the chests, and then a few more people wearing the red cross vests. "Mr. Curry!" Sam called. Aiden huffed again and pulled down Sam's arm. Then he went to wave. "The whole point of being on holidays is to not be at school and not talk to teachers," he hissed. "Quick, let's go." But it was too late. Mr. Curry was already walking over and smiling at us with his eyebrows raised. "Oh, Mr. McMillan, are you such a fan of school you couldn't stay away?" No, sir," Aiden murmured. "We were just riding by and saw..." Mr. Curry looked behind him at the volunteers who had started calling our kids' names and having them in line up against the side of the classroom. "What are they doing today?" Kira butted in. "Is it regular school stuff like what we do?" Our teacher turned back to us. "Maths is pretty universal, so we're doing some of those regular lessons. And then we're teaching basic English phrases today. Most of them already know quite a bit already, though some leave a lot to be desired." "What do you mean, sir?" Jed asked. Mr. Curry sighed. "Apparently The Simpsons is quite popular in Kosovo, and everyone is very proud to say, 'Eat my shorts,' no matter if the occasion or context calls for it." "Have they not been going to school all this time, sir?" Jed asked, and Mr. Curry shook his head. "No, a few teachers have been hired or else volunteered to teach regularly at the Haven, but it's, not the most ideal of classrooms," he shrugged. "So I suggest that we take advantage of our vacant school over the holidays and let them learn in the lap of luxury." Sam laughed at as Mr. Curry swept his arms out to take in our little brick school by the sea. And then someone blew a whistle behind him and Mr. Curry said he had to go. "You're welcome to stop by again, if you want," he said. These children are very curious about all of you. About us? Kira pointed at herself. He nodded. All of you local kids. They think you live in paradise. In fact, I'd say they're more curious about you than you are of them. Then Mr. Curry's eyes seemed to light up and he opened his clipboard folder to unclip a piece of paper that he rolled up and passed through one of the diamonds on the fence. He motioned to Aiden to take it, which he reluctantly did. I'm going to start posting these around town, but since you're here... We each let our bikes go and crashed to the ground so we could crowd around Aiden and read over his shoulder. It was a flyer with a pretty terrible drawing of a soccer ball net and stick figure goalie that read, Albanians versus Australians. Sign up for a friendly game of community soccer at the Safe Haven, Sunday, 1st of August. Under 18s and over 18s matches. The Haven would like to organise a friendly game of soccer in a few weeks' time and we're looking for players to fill out a local side, Mr. Curry said. Aiden stopped rolling the paper back up, but Jed snatched it from his hand to read more closely. Would you consider putting your talents as goalie to good use? I looked up to see Mr. Curry's eyes trained on Aiden. Jed and a bunch of other boys played too, but only for fun during lunch. Aiden was in junior leagues and easily the best soccer player at PNP for his age group, and maybe even the whole of Sorrento. Aiden scratched under his chin where his helmet strap sat and shrugged. I don't think my dad will let me, sir. Will you at least ask him? The sound of a whistle came again and Mr. Curry apologised and said he really had to run. We watched him jog back inside while we picked our bikes back up. Maybe it'd be cool. Jed looked at Aiden as he handed him back the flyer. Aiden scoffed at that. Then he got back on his bike and flicked his pedals to get his feet in position. Eat my shorts, he called as he was pushing off. We all had to pedal hard to catch up with him. But I noticed that he tucked the piece of paper into his jeans pocket.